it is our responsibility to express our desires, our needs, our boundaries. It is our absolute responsibility to be integrous with our yes, with our no. If you say yes to something, you have to own your yes. And if you're not in integrity with your yes, that's your responsibility. That's not the person who you said yes to's responsibility. And when you say no, it's also being able to say no in a peaceful way. I'm going to get more into what I mean by that. I see this thing all the time. So people doing things because they feel obligated to when no one had asked them anything. And then putting the weight, putting the depth of making that decision of doing something they're not really wanting to do with their heart on the other person. I'm going to give examples. So, for example, someone who offers to do something for you, but not because they want to, but because it comes from another space. Usually it comes from childhood programming, where as a child, that person felt they needed to earn their parents' love, earn their parents' validation, or just earn peace, you know? So this person is going to do something for you, but then because it doesn't come from a place of integrity, it doesn't come from a place of truly wanting that in their heart, in their alignment, then they make you pay the price of this unaligned behavior, basically. So this will show up as typically as being passive aggressive or criticizing. It can be passive aggressive in the body language, for example. If you're in the same space, like excluding you from the space, right? Turning their backs, going places, or just going somewhere like without explaining explicitly to you what's happening, like making you feel like they don't want your presence, or that your presence is like inconvenient to you, right? In their body language, in their behavior, in spatial environments, in the space. It can also be like indirect comments, indirect criticism. It can also be like complaining to other people about the situation with you, or just criticizing you, right? All of this because of this person's lack of integrity with self, and because this person hasn't fully taken their responsibility for their choice, their action, their behavior, their word. So this could also be like, I'll just give a few examples. You're asking, so when you're asking something, it's a question, right? You ask a question, the answer, there's always two answers that have the same levels of legitimacy, which are yes and no. Yes is perfectly fine, no is perfectly fine. You're asking the question. So once you have asked the question, it's the other person's responsibility to feel what feels good for them and give you an integrous response. So if they say yes, they have to be able to stand behind this yes. It's not your responsibility to feel bad or kind of guess that they said yes, but they meant no. It's important for everyone to take their own responsibility in what we speak and how we behave and what we choose to do and say. So, for example, you're going to ask for a favor. For example, your car broke down and you're asking someone, can you give me a ride to the supermarket today, right? If this person says yes, but they don't want to, it's not okay to make you feel bad for that with passive-aggressive behaviors, with comments, with reproaches, with criticism behind your back. It's not okay. It's your responsibility, you, the person who has been asked. It's your responsibility to say yes if you feel like saying yes, and also to say no if it doesn't work for you, which is perfectly fine. And not to feel ashamed or guilty for saying no. That's the other thing about integrity. From which space is coming your yes and your no? Are you able to be in integrity with yourself and say no when it's not okay without feeling anger, without feeling shame, without projecting your shame on the other person, making them responsible for the shame that you're feeling in saying no because you're not comfortable saying no? It's not okay to do that. It's not the other person's responsibility. The person is asking a question, so they are interacting in the space of conscious relating, which is asking you for your consent and how you're feeling about something. I always tell my friends or people that that enter my lives and I'm starting to build a friendship or any relationship with, really, that a no, an aligned, integrous no will never damage a relationship for me. If I ask, hey, can I use some of your olive oil? And the person says, hey, I don't have much left and I'm going to use it for something else. So sorry, I can't do that for you. If the no is like peaceful and on integrity, it will always be okay for me. Always, because I'm always asking. I need relationships to be in this container of consent, in this container of like conscious relating and non-violent communication, right? So I'm asking, and I need to know what's true for the other person. So if it's no, that's fine. At least I know I can trust that our relationship is based on integrity, and I'll never have to second guess what that person wants or is feeling. It makes me feel safe. It makes me feel safe in a relationship when I know that the other person will be in integrity and able to speak yes and no whenever it's true for that person. If I know that person will say no when it's not okay for her or not aligned or she can't, I will be able to trust in the authenticity, in the truthfulness, and also in the simplicity of this relationship. It makes things so simple. Hey, can I ask you this? Whatever. Yes, no. Okay, thanks. Moving on. Right? But on the other hand, I have had relationships ruined or really damaged by people who weren't able to be in integrity with their yes or their no. And many people who are unable to say no, so they'll say yes, or even they'll offer to do something for you, which is not okay for them. And then there will be this, like, I can't really find the word, but it's this debt attached to it. Like, I said yes, but I didn't want to, and I wasn't able to say no. So I'm feeling resentful, I'm feeling angry, I'm feeling powerless, I'm feeling, all these things. And I will project that onto you, and I will make you feel responsible for that. I'm projecting my responsibility of speaking my truth, speaking my needs, my boundaries, etc., on you and making you responsible for that. I see that all the time. Sorry to put you face to your responsibility, but that has nothing to do with the other person. It's not that other person's responsibility to second guess what's good for you or what's not. Especially if that person has asked for your consent. It's your responsibility to stand behind what you're speaking. And so this has broken relationships in my life, where people have not been in, like, spoken things that weren't in integrity with what they wanted or what they were feeling, and they started like projecting that responsibility onto me and like having this passive aggressive behaviors, reproaches, resentment, and even sometimes like speaking to other people, criticizing. For me, that can be basically the end of the relationship. I cannot trust that kind of relationship. I cannot feel safe. I cannot feel like grounded in that kind of relationship. So remember, it is your responsibility to speak about what's good for you, what do you need, what's your desire, what doesn't work for you, what's like a boundary, express your boundaries. Express when something is asked to you, make sure that your yes means yes and is coming from a place of truth. And if it feels like no, are you able to say no in a way that doesn't bring up shame and anger, and then like making that other person responsible for how you're feeling, this shame and this anger, because you're not feeling allowed to say no? Is that coming up for you? If so, it's interesting to look into that and really understand that if you're in the container of a healthy relationship, yes and no are both valid answers. And if you're not in the container of safe and healthy relationships, how the other person feels about you saying no in a peaceful and aligned way is not your responsibility. Especially if she asked the question, because yes and no are both valid answers. So I just wanted to make a huge reminder for that, because I see that all the time. People who project responsibility on other people and who are not in integrity with, okay, I'm feeling this, but I didn't express it to that other person. I didn't speak up about it. And now I'm angry, and now I'm frustrated, and now I'm making that other person responsible. Have you spoken truthfully to that person? Have you expressed yourself in a non-violent way about how you're feeling, about your needs, your boundaries? Have you been in integrity with what you have spoken? If not, please don't project on that other person and take responsibility for yourself in your relationships. Have a beautiful day.